Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a rocky mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, July 25th, Sunday, July 26th for those of you across the pond and beyond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm so glad you guys could join us this evening on one of our many outlets. You can find us live right now on Spreaker.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, as well as Podcast Addict. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be doing the Paradox Paranormal Forum, and tonight we're joined by Kevin McDougal of Ohio, Melanie Faith Oles-Graham of Colorado. We have Mia Savage of Colorado as well. And then we also have our weekday host, SleepyDave Davenport. Welcome, guys, and thanks so much for coming and hanging out with me tonight.
Hey.
Good to see you.
So a lot of people might be wondering, who's Melanie? So Melanie's a member of my team, Four Corners Paranormal Investigations, and I'm so excited she could join me tonight. I've missed my team.
Yes, with all the craziness going on, it's hard to go out and do anything.
Yeah,
Welcome to the group, Mel.
Yeah, the closest we got to hanging out was in the cemetery, and we were doing pretty good at our social distancing, but it was cool getting to see everybody again. But I'm super excited to have you.
Thanks.
Alrighty. So,
yes, Mel, good to see you and talk to you.
Mia's finally walking again on her chicken leg.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to go party, Mel. Let's do it.
Oh. Well, you should.
I don't know where.
At the cemetery. No, I'm just kidding.
Basically, yeah.
Hey, why not?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
All right, so for the Paradox Paranormal Forum, what we do is discuss anything and everything under the paranormal umbrella. I'm not sure what everybody's got to bring to the table, but Mia, you had mentioned that you've been having some visions or revelations.
Yeah, I've been going through like a spiritual awakening. I called it revelations, like because I was kind of making a joke as to like I call my mom constantly with her being psychic or whatever. So every time something happens now, I'm like, Mom, check out the synchronicity. Like, and she's probably like blocking me by now because it's been like 4 days of this crap. But like ever since I started walking, like I've been in contact with like these native spirits, and like everything starts to make sense, and it's just crazy. In one day, like I'm being guided to do all this stuff. Like they're like, we're putting you to work. You can walk. We're putting you to work now. And like one day I saw 444 4 times. I saw 1111 3 times. I saw 333 3 times. This is in one day, and I saw 222 twice. And I'm like, this has never happened. What is going on? Like somebody is trying to talk to me. I'm like, okay. I've always kind of wondered about some of my like guides because I know who some of them are family members and I know them very well. But there's these other ones that I've like always wondered about, and I got pushed into kind of opened up to, excuse me, like native spirits, and kind of went down this whole rabbit hole with that. And I found this really cool show called Indians and Aliens, and specifically like the Nakotas, which I already knew, which were they're like a branch of the Sioux Indians or natives. But Indians and Aliens is the main guy on it is native, and he calls it Indians and Aliens. Obviously it sounds better than natives and extraterrestrials, so I'm just going to say Indian for now despite that. And basically he's Nakota, and he talks about how like the star people are like the origins of their tribe is from the star people. And basically like I went into this whole rabbit hole about that, and it's really cool like seeing the entangledness between like the starseed thing and like the Native American thing, and how a lot of the beliefs that there are now, down to the constellations and everything, are the same things that the natives believed like 2,000 years ago. Anyway, yeah, so that's where I'm doing.
So, like, what exactly does that cover? I'm curious.
Okay, so specifically the Nakotas, they believe there was star seeds. Well, they believe that their tribe originated and has a mixed bloodline between human and the star people. And specifically, I think it's Orion, but there's multiple ones. And this chief Golden Light Eagle, which I think I've talked about him before, but I got more into it. He talks about the origin of 1111, and where it originated in their beliefs is like the mother, like the divine mother and the divine father, like the masculine and feminine gods or spirits. They don't call them gods because they're not really like what I'm learning about the natives is they're not really like into polytheism or multiple gods. They believe everything has a spirit, but it's all one type of thing. And it's weird because they call Earth like Mother Turtle, but they don't mean a literal turtle. You know, it's like a different language. It's almost like a code word from passed down from the ancestors. You know, like say they're on a spirit quest and they see a turtle, they know that means Earth, right? So I'm learning that a lot of the things that they talk about, which sound crazy to us sometimes, you know, from an outsider's perspective, are actually not literal, which is another very fascinating thing. I don't know. So I'm kind of like tuning into that language, everything from like animals to like different tribes and their beliefs, and the difference in, you know, some tribes, they believe that owls, which is one of my totems, owls are a bad thing, and some of them believe it's a good thing, and others believe it's just like a warning, or, you know, the placement of the owl to the breed of the owl is all like, you know, all different basically. And so I'm kind of learning that more specifically. So next time I do see an owl and I do get a funny feeling, I can be like, okay, well, that's a great horned owl. So that's like a bad omen, you know? Or like it's to the left. That means if you see it on the left-hand side, usually it means that there's going to be a war or a battle. You know, obviously it's probably not going to be a physical war at this point in our evolution, especially if it's you as an individual seeing that. But if you see it on the left side, it means you're going to win the war, right? Or win the battle. I don't know. So a lot of
win
cool
the battle,
things.
you win the war.
Yeah. That's my rabbit hole of late. I've been calling my mom constantly too, just like, this is getting almost ridiculous, like between the dreams. And then I asked for guidance from like, you know, these spirit guides, and I'm like, okay, so now that I'm seeing the correlation between the star people and the natives, I'm going to start communicating with them. And so I had a dream that night. I said, communicate with me through my sleep tonight. And I had a dream about literally being in the Matrix, which is really weird. I mean, I was like surrounded by like green lights, laser light type things, like a grid. And I was literally like doing stuff on the Matrix, like in this Matrix world. And I'm like, is this like another dimension? Like, this is trippy. And I woke up and I can't remember. I remember being there for a long time. And I remember communicating with people and kind of being guided, but I wasn't able to see them. They were just kind of like shadowy figures from what I recall. But it was very strange that I asked guidance, and I had this weird dream that I would never have. Like, it's not a normal dream for me. I mean, there is no such thing as a normal dream, I don't think, but
well, especially
maybe there's a dimension that's like the Matrix, you know, that's like this weird 3D world. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about everybody else, but my dreams have been weird for the last month or so. Last month especially. I'm just like, what the hell is
COVID
going
dreams.
on? COVID dreams.
Do you remember them? I know you said sometimes you don't remember them.
I will at first, like certain parts of it, and sometimes something will happen and it'll make me remember parts of it, but I really, like I said before a million times, need to start a dream journal. But yeah, it's just been insane, like different crazy things going on. A lot of it for a while was like real life stuff, and now it's getting like really chaotic and violent, you know, like a lot of war stuff and end of world stuff, and but yeah, it just goes away, and a lot of people that I don't recognize, it's really weird,
are in the dreams. I think that's the collective. Like I had a dream last night, and I was expecting another cool Matrix dream because I've been in communication with these spirits. And in the dream, it was actually horrible. It was like a child trafficking dream. And it's not the first time I've had those dreams. I think some of it is like you're literally astral projecting to somewhere like that because your soul is like being taken there. But it was like kind of through the eyes of a kid, which was the really creepy part about the dream. Like I was in like the back of a van, and there was like this evil woman, but I saw her as like this evil like witch, like kind of like Maleficent type, you know, like person, you know, like how a child would see things, like they're in a nightmare, fairy tale nightmare, you know. It was very strange, very strange. COVID dreams. I think a lot's going on like a different dimensional level, so we're all doing weird stuff astrally, and there's just so much different negative energy out there that we're like all picking up on it in some way.
Definitely. Speaking of the Matrix, that reminds me of this new Randonautica app. and supposedly they generate numbers to, I don't know, mess with the Matrix or something. I'm not sure. There's 3 different, and so many different variations of it according to different people. But I went last night, put $10 in the gas tank, and it was funny. I've been wanting to go for weeks. Finally got to go last night, and it kept taking us to different people's houses, and I'm focusing on, you know, spooky ass shit, and I want to find something haunted or creepy or whatever. And Nova today was like, well, you know, those houses could have been haunted, but it was at night, and they recommend doing it during the day. So I do have all of the different nautical numbers and such that I can look it back up and go investigate it during the day. But we finally got a good spot. I think it was the very last one, or it could have been the second to last, but it was out on Foxfire Farm Road, and it was so beautiful, and there was no fences, no private property signs, no nothing, and I'm like, let's go, and he's like, you go. And I'm like, you're not a very good partner, like, I'm not going out there by myself. And, so yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. But have any of you guys got to try out this app?
I've never even heard of it.
Gotta check it out.
No, I have to wonder.
Is it creepy?
It can be. There's different, if you look online,
I've heard.
people have found dead bodies, creepy dolls, like a lot of places that have been found look like old witch like villages, but there's nobody there, but there's like little stick thingies hanging everywhere, kind of like the Blair Witch thing, and this thing is all over the world. So some people are like saying that they're being followed at times and thinking that there's people in on it that are leaving things for you to find, but you get 10 locations per day. So how can somebody keep up with that with so many people using it? And it is a new thing. And my husband's like, Randonautica, like it's basically what it says it is. It's a random location. True that, you know. But it's amazing the different things that people have found, including money. Money's one of the good ones. We should go, Mel.
No kidding. I needed all the money I could find. No kidding.
Literally, this app is the exact. There was a Netflix show, and it's on the tip of my tongue. I'll remember the name of it. And it was it's kind of like a futuristic show, and it was the exact same concept. It was an app. It was a game that people play, and it was like a puzzle, like a maze, like a puzzle. You go to certain locations and you find stuff, and you find the location. That's so weird that they made that real. You know, it's like another sci-fi thing that came true, like almost immediately. The show's it's less than 5 years old. So, gosh, I'll remember. It's a cool show, though. It's a really cool show. I'll find it.
Yeah. Everyone dies then.
Sign me up. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the winner gets to go to another dimension. Like in that one, it like shows you like the winner of the game gets to go to a portal to a different dimension. Now, I don't know what to think about that being actually true, but that would be a trip.
For sure. Well, it's got some different things. The first thing that you notice is the little coin thing on the cover page that's got an owl with its head off to the side, like looking at you. Somebody said its head is chopped off, and I'm like, do you not know an owl, like, their neck can do all kinds of crazy things. It can even spin around a few times. But it's got different things on there. Yeah, the exorcist owl. So the 9 tenets of the Randonauts. So seeing in the dark, dedication to exploring the uncertainty and blind spots of the world around us. And then it says venture with mindfulness, paying attention, practicing safety and situational awareness. Be sincere, show compassion and willingness to understand oneself and the community. High vibes intent, be luminous in thought and strive to radiate a positive mindset. Value inner life, appreciation towards the self as the catalyst for an effect on the external environment. Bridge cultural gaps, so you share experiences to assist in understanding the beauty of the shared global consciousness. Transform and shift. Curiously test the theory of quantum randomization. That word always gets me. And the possibility to change a life path or shift into a new, better space and time. Bring a trash bag. Be respectful of the environment and always leave the place you traveled to better than what it was before. Synchronicity, diving into randomness to find connections and meaning for both the individual and the community, using serendipitous occurrences to guide you on your path. So it sounds pretty positive. And then they give
It sounds pretty awesome, but also dangerous. But the show is called the OA. I just found out. So it literally is the exact same thing.
Oh,
and
that's
the
where
winner
they do
gets
that,
to it.
like the same movements.
That
and
weird
stuff.
dance thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I towards the end of the show, which is actually a really cool show.
I liked it.
Except, did you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch all of it?
Yeah. I'm waiting for the new season to come out.
Right? Like towards the end, though, they have this game or this app where they go and they travel. They travel to specific locations, and then at the end they're taken to this building which literally has like a portal into like another life. So I think that show is based partially on quantum physics, which is why I love it. But it's the exact same thing. So the whole theory and the app and the show are all based on quantum physics and changing your destiny or your path or your whatever. We should all do like a paranormal deal with that app. Would be cool.
Yeah, I tried to do I first recorded it with my camera, and I had 3 different ones all charged up. One didn't want to work with, which was my night vision camera, but I got most of it. And then the last part, because my cameras died, I did live, which the forward facing screen is all jacked up, so I can't do it this way. So it was all forward facing, but that way I have all of it, so I can put together a video, which really shows nothing. But I'm looking forward to going back and looking at those locations during the day, and trying it again. I've been bugging the teenagers for weeks, like let's go, and they keep putting me off. They said this Monday. First they said this weekend. I'm like, I can't do this weekend. I have the show, but they're like, okay, this Monday we'll do it. I'm gonna hold them to it too. But it's cool about the quantum, like, random numbers or whatever that said. What was that again? My memory.
Quantum reality?
No, let me look. It was here. Quantum randomization.
Oh, randomization. It's hard to say those words together.
Randomization.
Quantum randomization. Randomization.
Okay, so this is the last part that I'll read to you guys. And it's basically kind of repeating itself, but has other things too. So, pro tips, randonaut with a positive mindset. Bring a trash bag to help the environment. If you normally wouldn't adventure alone, go with a friend or group, which I think is safest anyways. Who knows what could happen out there. And these are different random locations. And it's cool, too, because it gives you a circle of about, I think, 10 miles. And it will not go out of that circle because it doesn't want you to have to travel too far in order to see these different things. Randonauting is best done as a daytime activity. Always randonaut with a charged phone. Use situational awareness. Be respectful of property owners. Never trespass. Obey all quarantine, curfew, social distancing regulations in your area. And do not go into dangerous areas. And then it says happy randonauting. But there's different ones that you can choose from as well. There's called an anomaly, an attractor, and a void. And let's see. It was explaining it yesterday. Let me look it up. It tells you what the different things do, and one is supposedly better than the other. Oh my goodness. So attractors are dense clusters of random points. Voids are the opposite. Anomalies are the strongest out of attractors and voids. And then you can get premium features, which, I ain't going to mess with that. Unless it's affordable. But I can't afford nothing. Can't afford to pay attention. But it sounds so fun. I had fun. I laughed my ass off last night. But didn't find it. Oh, there was this one part where we went onto native land where you could usually go hunting or fishing. And it was super creepy going down there. And it tells you to go this certain direction, which means you have to park your car and then walk out there. And like I said, I wasn't going to walk alone. And I know Vern wasn't going to walk with me. So I need Mel or Mia or teenagers to go with me.
Well, call me up.
Heck yeah. Let me know your availability. Okay, so Mel, what about you?
Weekend. What about
weekends?
Me? What about me?
Like, have you had any paranormal stuff going on, or crazy dreams, or anything under the umbrella of the paranormal?
Not necessarily crazy dreams, but a lot of deja vu. It's been crazy. Like the other day, I had to stop. My kids and I were doing something, and I was like, "Holy cow! I've been here. I've done this." And I knew what was going to come next. So, yeah, a lot of that kind of thing. My sister just told me that she woke up yesterday morning, and she had a spectra. It was her from a past life watching her. So she gets a lot of that too, which is crazy because we're not actually biologically related. So... So anything else? No, not really. But I have been pretty shut off because right now my daughter's in a weird place. And we all know things like to attach itself to me. And so I try to not bring anything home. So.
It's crazy in
You're
our
like
group.
glue.
Yeah. In our group, Mel's the one that generally gets touched or fondled or groped or, what? Oh, goosed.
Right. Or, yeah, the spirits like to run at me. Yeah. Like the
What
one
about
when we went on
You're
that one.
super intuitive.
Do say.
Yes. So, I know. It's just weird how it doesn't. I can be anywhere and weird things happen to me.
Well, I know your house, like, we would generally have our team meetings at your house. Do you still have the blue orb and the knocking and other activity going on?
The knocking has stopped. I do see the blue orb periodically. But I noticed it's more now that my daughter's home and living at home with me. The knocking has completely stopped, which I had already thought it was her anyway, because when she was away at school, I kind of knew when she was going through things by what was happening in my house. And so I do see the orb every now and then. My son has seen it a couple times since our last meeting, which has been a while now. Any other weird stuff? No, nothing's moved. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, nothing unusual or more unusual than usual.
Right. Sleepy D, is the activity still ceased at your house?
Yeah. Yes, pretty much. Yeah, no, nothing's moved or. Nope. I'm sorry. Nope. I just had a week. That's all. I mean, rough physical week at work, but it was a good week though, so can't complain.
How you liking your job?
Oh, it's nice. You know, I'm working, and I hear a lot of jobs are going to the wayside. Actually, I see a lot of jobs are, and it took me. Well, I'll be honest. It took me 4 years to find a 9 to 5, 40-hour-a-week job, which it shouldn't have, in retrospect. But that's how hard it's been. So I'm holding on to this job with all I can, because there's many people out there who, barely get 32. So, and with 41%, I think they were saying about businesses going away and that are not coming back. That's a lot. So
Arizona's a strange place for that too. Like, just for working in general, it's like you have these entry-level jobs, right? But it's also a right-to-work state, so it just kind of sucks unless you're in like a specific field. I told all my friends, you guys all need like to go to a trade school and like do something, but even then it's competitive. So, I feel bad for all my realtor friends out there. I mean, especially right now.
Hey, Mel, meet Mel.
That's my brother. They, I remember when 9/11 happened, I was doing security for this apartment complex from 7 at night to 3 in the morning. And most of the residents there were going to ITT Technical Institute. And there were so many students living in this apartment complex that ITT had a deal. Hold on one moment, babe. And they got a discounted rate on their rent. So trade school's always been popular.
Well, and Mia, she's our snowbird. Like, she'll be here during the summer and then go back to Arizona in the winter. And she said that may change, but I don't know. I really like Colorado way better than Arizona as far as a lot of different things going on down there. Like, my sister's had so many issues with, medical and all kinds of other things. And like you were saying, like, trying to find a good place to rent and get this help as a single dad. Like, I think Colorado would be much better for you than Arizona. Come on up.
Yeah, well, but there's a whole other gob of, factors that, I'm not going to go into here that need to be, considered. I mean, as far as a drive up and visiting and a nice weekend, 3 or 4 day, or even a 2-day thing, you leave Friday or whatever. And, but living, yeah, because you got to know people. You have to have a support system. You have to have a network, and I don't have any of that. I barely have it here.
We're here for you.
That's kind of
you
true.
got 3 people right here.
Online.
Hello.
I mean,
yeah, but I don't think I'm not going to get into. We'll talk later on it.
Yeah, for sure. We just saying.
It is difficult to go from one place to another. I had a friend who was talking about the same thing, and he was like, it took him forever to like really kind of get into a group, so to speak, because he didn't know anybody, but his job brought him here, and which then like leaves. I mean, then you end up being alone a lot of that time. Yeah. And so it is difficult, but the nice thing about like especially Durango Bayfield area where we are, the people are really nice, and we're very friendly, and I mean, sometimes you just do have to take a leap of faith. Not that I'm saying that you should, but I mean, because I don't know all your details, but just you never know.
Yeah, it was funny when I first moved back to Arizona 2 years ago. The job I was at, I get to know some of the coworkers. How long have you worked here? Well, I've been here 20 years. One of them snapped on me because I was on her register. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I didn't know you came with a placard here. Well, everybody knows this is my register. I've been here since 1998. So, okay. All right. If it means that much to you. And to me, it's, I don't know. It didn't, and they, some employers, see what's happened in the job market, and this is my experience. I don't know about anybody else, but when I worked in the casino,
Can I at least get like one reply?
Melody.
Somebody said XG.
Okay, Melody, they can hear you. You're live on the air, so just let you know. We were the last class for dealer school to be hired on full time. We were told that everybody else who would be hired on at the casino after that was going to go only work part time, and that was going to be the new norm. And then they systematically over the next year fired all the full time people. And Maryland, being a right to work state, they could do that with no reason.
Yep.
That's why I say it took me that long to get a full-time job again. It's horrible. And I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, you're lazy or this or that. No.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know my situation, so that's why I say, there's full-time jobs to be had off shift. Oh, yeah, I could go do one tomorrow. But when you don't have family or somebody you trust watch your child, you're not going to, then you have to work during the day, during school hours.
Mr. Mooney, what about in your neck of the woods? What's been going on with you? Hello.
Dad.
It's it's been a hideous kind of couple weeks for me, but I had some oral surgery that was very taxing on my soul. We've been in the stormy days here in northeastern Ohio, and so they've been blowing up here and there, and just about every day we've had a thunderstorm or two and torrential rains and all that good stuff. But I agree with you. The dream world has been very, very crazy, and it's just unfortunately it's just part of what we're stuffing down with all this tension in the world right now, and all the uncertainty and all the craziness and all the political fodder and everything else, and but we're surviving, and we're living through it day by day and doing things we don't want to do, and hopefully not killing each other in the process. So
That'd be
but
nice.
yeah, non-homicide's a nice word these days.
Non-homicide.
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 Phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Non-hominon.
Mia was talking earlier about the aliens and Indians, and there have been a lot of stuff here in the last few weeks about Native people, First Nations and such. However, you want to discuss them and define them, or at least address them. There was one of the reasons being is because there was the Supreme Court of the United States had heard a case, and they did a ruling on their Native American rights in Oklahoma, and they upheld the Native American rights. It affected 5 major tribes or nations: Cherokee Nation, Muskogee Nation, Choctaw Nation, Seminole, and Chickasaw, and basically taking the right of the states to the state of Oklahoma from trying them. The right should be in the Cherokee or their own nation to try them in their own courts, not in the state courts. And also, it also leaves up a lot of questions about who owns, because they're basically saying that this territory, which is like half of Oklahoma itself, the state of Oklahoma, is actually owned by these Native American tribes. And thank you, dear. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Not, you know that. They're actually owned by these tribes, and they have the rights to everything, basically. So it's going to open up a lot of legal discussions about what all they're entitled to on these properties. So they've been in, like PBS and a lot of other networks have been running a lot of their shows and stuff. And like for somebody like me who watches TV at, 4:00 in the morning, PBS is a big thing for me. And they've been running a lot of specials about, Native American beliefs in supernatural things, paranormal beliefs. And so I've been.
Do you know the name of the show?
If it's
on PBS, I can.
Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 shows that they've been having. There's that many shows. Outrageously great programming. A lot of it's been done up in Canada. Some of it's here in America, but it's about supernatural beliefs, and it's about everything from Bigfoot to skinwalkers to
the little people.
To
Have
the
you
little
seen
people.
The little people? Yes,
Yeah,
which is like
yeah.
identical to the Fae, right? And their
Yes,
beliefs.
that's correct.
Fascinating.
They're just a little bit.
Yeah, it's the Fae
Yeah.
and also other things. So, great shows, really great.
Heck yeah.
And they probably would never have been shown in the United States or even shown on TV if it wouldn't have been for this case going to the Supreme Court. So it always, when I see these programming things come up, it makes me wonder what's going on in the Supreme Court, because PBS does a lot of stuff politically, to show, bring attention to, different causes and stuff. So, and it's almost always tied into the Supreme Court. So,
Yes, my aunt used to work for PBS, and she's an attorney. So
Oh.
same thing, yeah.
Yeah, they're a great organization, and and the legal system has a lot of sponsorship in there, and it's good the way they they bring stuff to the attention. They're not like trying to shove anything down your throat, but bringing up Bigfoot and bringing up spiritual stuff in the home and in the village or whatever, and even with they did do some of the fracking stuff. The Maori and the native people in Canada. You got one in New Zealand and one in British Columbia, and they were both dealt the same exact way by the oil companies and the fracking. They were like signing. They were forced into signing. Basically, I don't want to say forced into it. They ended up signing identical type contracts, and the government was dealt with them the same way in both cases about taking the rights away from them in the land, and the oil companies and stuff had the same rights just to walk into their property. They'd send them a letter, and within hours of getting the letter, the oil company would just drive in there and anywhere on their property at all and start drilling wells to see if there was gas in a certain place. craziness like that.
I know they did the same thing here, but from what I'm told with the Utes here, they actually are they actually have quite a bit of money in comparison to some of the other tribes from oil. Like they received money from the oil. But I don't know, every place is different.
And there's a good reason for that. In America,
I think that's great. I mean, at least.
Yeah. Well, in America, a lot of the tribes had a chance to have their youth go to schools and stuff and get college in a much sooner time period than they did in Canada and in New Zealand. And see, that's the problem. Right now, they're just their youth are just at a point where they are getting into finishing up law school and stuff like that for the first time ever. And in America, we've had that happen at decades sooner. So the money would have started coming in already because of lawsuits and stuff in America. Where in these other places, there's never been a suit brought that was ever passed, that was ever won, because there was nobody internally that was ever able to bring a suit that knew the background. And they're just very interesting, the dynamics of some of the stuff. And I just wanted to touch on that because when you brought that stuff up, I that's the first thing I thought of, because I talked to Tess about this last week and on one of the after shows, and it was just so interesting to me about how all this stuff came up. And Chris, I know a lot of you guys know Chris, Mighty Man.
Yes.
He had brought up the case with me, and we talked about it afterwards, and it did interest me quite a bit, and I did want to share this a little bit more, and you brought up a perfect thing. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. But yeah, there's just so much going on with tension in the world and stress and everybody's psyche, and the pandemic had gotten worse in many cases. And it did show in Ohio that when the governor made everybody put their mask on in my county, put it that way, for that 1 week, he called us out, our county by itself, had us mandated to put a mask on the very next day. In 1 week's time, our new cases dropped 50%. So that was a clear-cut case of showing the mask did work, and that probably, in concurrence with people's awareness of that our cases went up and they need to be more careful. Those two things together most likely brought the cases down by 50% immediately, because the testing was going up, and so we cut that down, and it was done by the number of cases, not by the number of tests, but so it was a fair assessment. But so they do work, and when we are smarter about what we do, wearing the mask is just being smart about what we do, and it's the same old crap we've always done. When we go into a sick hospital room when someone has a virus, we wear a mask. We wash our hands more often when it's flu season. We go through and we cover our mouths when we cough, when we know we're sick. We do, when we want to be a responsible human being. All this stuff is stuff we normally always do when it's a bad flu season or something. Or when you're around family and people you care about. You may not do it all the time when you're running around the stores usually, but when you're around the family and stuff at a Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, and you're sick, you don't run up and hug everybody. If you're getting ready to cough and you're sick, you cover yourself up pretty good. If you know that you got something that's transferable and your doctor told you that you should be staying away from everybody, the least you're going to do is put on a frickin' mask, and you're not going to run around hugging and kissing everybody.
Unless you're a jerk.
Yeah. Unless you hate your family and want them to die,
There's always that guy.
And
There's
there are
always
those
that guy.
folks. There are those
Or that
ones that
girl.
would have for once wanted to go to Thanksgiving dinner. They may not have shown up in 8 years, but that would have been the one they showed up for.
Yeah.
And they've been loving everyone to death. Oh, Aunt
Oh,
Matilda, so
Uncle
glad
Jerry.
to see you.
Aunt Matilda.
Let me
Aunt
put my
Matilda and
arms
Uncle
around
Jerry.
you.
It is funny though.
Giving
like
you
you're
big
saying-
sloppy wet kisses. Oh,
ahead,
I just
Mel.
got a little bit of cold.
Oh, I was just gonna say when the little people got brought up. So I have a friend who is a miner. He works in the coal mine here. And so, do you know where I'm going with this? So he's actually seen Tommy knockers more than once, and he just recently saw.
What are those?
So they're little people, but they mostly are in mines. That's where they have been seen, and usually they're an omen of some sort. And so, but him and the other guy he was working with saw the most recent one. But I thought that was pretty interesting because I forgot to tell you that earlier because that's paranormal.
Mhm.
But
That's pretty wild, though.
yeah, and it's not been the first time. He's been a miner for 20 years, and so, but this is a new mine that he's at, and so just recently he saw them, and of course he's like calling me up. Should I be worried?
What are they
Like,
doing?
I don't know. What are they doing? They're protective of the mine or the whatever they're mining. This is a coal mine, so whatever. But usually, what I've done some study on them, they're usually an omen of something to come, and usually it's not a good thing. So we'll see.
Well, I saw little people once, and it was in Arkansas up this road in Coxville called Wildcat Canyon Road, and this place was creepy anyways, but I've always had issues sleeping, and my sister had to go to bed because her husband said so. Usually she'd come back out and we'd play Scrabble, and we even put this pad sort of thing, like you'd dry your dishes on that have the holes in it, inside of the Scrabble thing so it wouldn't make noise when we're trying to play and not wake up Dick or Richard, whatever you want to call him. And so I hear this noise towards her bedroom, which you go through the living room, you go through the kitchen, there's a laundry room, then there's her bedroom. And I hear this noise coming from there, so I'm like, cool, she's getting up, we're going to play Scrabble. And she never comes out, so I'm like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, I hear this chattering, and I look over, and I see two little guys, and they're maybe like 12 inches tall, and they're on her, she's got this little cabinet area and then a shelf, and then up here is where you'd put your coffee cups or whatever collector cups you'd have, and they're in between this space, and it's about 14 inches, so they're about 12 inches tall. One had like a white sort of t-shirt and jeans, and the other one had coveralls on, and they're chattering back and forth. One sits on the end, and he starts kicking his legs, and the other one runs up behind him and pushes him like he's going to push him off this little shelf area, and he grabs onto the edge and pulls himself up. A little fight occurs, and as they're doing this, I'm like, holy shit, like, this is not for real. I gotta go out and investigate closer, and as I sat up, I could not see them anymore, and so I'm trying to be quiet and go in there, but by the time I got in there, which was just seconds, they were gone. But, then I was like, well, that's where all the missing things go. Like, I called them before the takers until I saw them, and then I realized they're little people. But they take your keys, your lighter, your cigarettes, like whatever you needed at that point, and learned after a while to ask nicely for them back. That's where your socks go in the dryer, and your other missing clothes. Like, where the heck did that go? I know that was in that load, and it's gone. So many different things that I know that they do, but that's interesting. I never knew that they were in mines.
Yep. Actually, what's the name of that ghost show? Ghost Adventures did a whole episode on in a Colorado mine up north.
What?
Yeah.
Do you know where? Up north in Colorado?
Because I think it is in Colorado, but I can look it up because I have all their stupid shows.
That's interesting. Yeah, I know. That's why it was funny to me you couldn't remember it. I'm like, you got all those episodes.
I know.
Who
I
you
find
got a
it very
crush on?
fascinating.
Who do I have a crush on? I really like Billy.
Uh-oh.
I was going to say Sleepy Dave. They're both single and willing to mingle. I'm just kidding. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Okay,
What show is this
you're in
again?
trouble.
Blind Date or
Yes. Anything is possible.
Marriage at First Sight?
Escape.
Oh, hell no. Don't do
Paranormal
it.
Edition?
Who's your mama?
You know, I don't think I've ever seen. The reason why I don't think I've ever seen little people like the Fae or anything like that is because of my cats. I've always had cats, inside and outside, and I think that's the reason why I've never seen them around the house or anything.
That makes sense.
Or even in the yard.
Yeah.
I don't think those two mix.
Necessarily everywhere. Probably not, but I don't think that they're necessarily everywhere as well. Because I did have like some activity which I blamed on the Fae, and I had a cat at the time. But I think it's crazy how so on now there's become like a little trend for this generation, the younger generation, of like witchcraft and stuff, and calling upon. So we're going to be having some very interesting things happening in the next few years with this generation who's calling upon demons and fae. And there's all of these kids now.
Yep.
I mean, or young people, mostly girls, but there's some males too, but it doesn't matter anymore anyway. But
bless you.
They are accepting gifts from these fae creatures and calling upon them and doing all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, it's become a trend even more so than it was, as a 90s kid, like being like a goth or whatever, or like a witch or something. That was a thing. I mean, every generation has that, but it's become like a major thing. And since we're able to transmit information more quickly now than ever before, people are doing some dumb things. And I just want to throw that out there. Like if you receive jewelry or rocks or some weird thing on your doorstep, don't accept it. Go bury it or just leave it be. Like, that's rule number one.
Well, yeah, today,
if you find it, it's different. But if it comes to you, don't take it.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like everything's at your fingertips. Like these kids don't have to go to the library or order a book or whatever. All they have to do is get online, and everything's there for them. And there's so, I hate to say it, but so many
or
faithless,
remember landmarks.
Yeah, so many faithless people out there that, don't believe in God or anything else. And why not try this? Don't believe that the Ouija board is something dangerous. And a lot of people think it's just like using any other paranormal tool. But, there are things in the works. And that's scary. Damn it, Mia. Now I'm going to have nightmares.
Sorry,
Yeah,
just
that
protect
sick
your kids
stuff
from that
about-
crowd.
That's sick stuff about all of a sudden everybody starts not purging, but everyone starts trying to summon these little piglet things, and the next thing you know, we're being overrun by these little piglet things. And that's something that I actually believe in, is that when you start conjuring things, they start appearing. And you actually bring about what you want. It's not so much conjuring, but it's manifestations. And I believe that this is a real occurrence, and it kind of bugs me. People don't understand the power that their mind has, and what they can bring about, and especially when you're in a group. but I'll let you go with that one, y'all.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the light as a feather, stiff as a board. It takes a group to do it, and a lot of times, even today, even though we don't go places and hang out with people, we have, different young family members show up here because this is a safe place for them to feel comfortable and feel safe. But yeah, it's just insane, groups, and there's generally groups as teenagers or anyone, but the mind is a powerful thing. You have to be careful with your thoughts, and, that brings up thought forms, which are insane, and all it takes is a group of people to believe in it for it to exist. Anything's possible. Just put your mind to it. But on that note, boys and girls, we are going to go to our first musical break. And I thought Robert was going to be on the show tonight, so I picked mostly reggae Rasta music. But unfortunately, he's not here. So if you're listening, I'm sorry, Robert. It's only a 14-minute and 12-second break. But we have Nonye Toria from Ghana, South Africa, and she's going to be singing Khaki and Gabon. And we also have King Cinnamon from Biafra, Nigeria, with Fantastic. And then we have Mr. Britt Casey from Boston, Massachusetts, with Mr. Selman. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
Promises I know, but I your bam bam anywhere you day. Throw your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it's a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Put your brother, baby, gather something. Come on closer, baby, gather 19. I know you better, but I am the king. Your backside bigger than Bombay. Baby girl, brokotom. I like the way you whine your brokotom. Baby girl, brokotom. I like the way you whine your brokotom. Jamaica, Ghana, shout out to the ladies in Asia, Nigeria, South Africa. Say me love you. Please me, baby. Yeah. Turn up from you. Your bam bam anywhere you day. Throw your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bam bam anywhere you day. Throw your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Give me love. Me want you, me love you. Give me love. Oh, give me love. Hey, please me, baby. Oh. Yeah, turn up from you. Yeah, take your bam bam anywhere you day. Throw your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bam bam anywhere you day. Throw your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic.
but it's poor reception, though. 'Cause she ain't picking up. Hello? Hello? Listen, Mr. Operator. I've been up all day and I'm trying to dial my baby's number. See, it only rings straight to the machine. 617. Now I know something must be wrong with this cell phone, 'cause my baby knows she wouldn't hang up on me. So tell me what's going on. I see most of the time phone only ring twice. How you doing, boo? Cool, how's your date? Nice. Now she ain't picking up, plus a text her. Put it to your plane, she's the one to get next to. It's not just the way, it's all day with affection. I'm hoping this detection is poor reception. Straight to the machine, mean it's like clicking my call, get connected quick. I'm saying, hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? I see the phone rings quite a few times before any answer. And I know she's home, well, at least till 3. And I know she's home. Now I don't mean to be any bother operator, but could you just check and connect this call for me? 'Cause I know she's home. Now see, the first time I call, I'm like, maybe she working. And the second time I call, I'm like, little bit hurting. But the third time I call, I'm like, going berserk. And now half a day gone, can't get her on the horn. Usually in the morning, maybe it's something wrong. I mean, she wouldn't take this long to call back. See, we tight like that, she's supposed to be mine. So could you please try it one more time? Hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? For some reason, it's like she ain't home. Just wanna get my baby on the phone. Now I know that she's there all alone. So can you please hook up my cellular phone? Hey, Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see there's something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Mr. Cellular Phone Man, I see something wrong with my line. I try to dial my baby's number, but get click every time. Why she ain't picking up, yo? Why she ain't picking up, yo?
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us this evening on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we are on the Paradox Paranormal Forum. Sorry, I had to recoup my thoughts there. Oh my. If only you guys could be a fly on the wall. Break time. It's like early after party. Woot woot.
Yeah, I see. Is that Melanie over there just choking it out?
No, not at all.
Wait, breathing. I apologize that I didn't mean to run over you there, Tessa.
No worries. Just in case you guys just joined us, we have SleepyDave Davenport, our weekday host with Time Slip Cafe. We also have Miss Mia Savage and Miss Melanie Faith Oles-Graham, both from Colorado, who are part of my Four Corners Paranormal team and my very good friends. And then we have Mr. Moonlight, a.k.a. Kevin McDougal from Ohio. Welcome back, guys, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Hello.
Hello. What fun we are having. We went from little people to Wow.
Little people.
Little people.
Mel's over here fanning herself.
She's like, I feel hot. I'm on the Ho Chi Minh Trail.
Little people to little Peters.
Repeat. Pete, repeat. Fell out of the tree. Pete fell down. Who was left? Tree. Pete fell down. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I've had something called lucid dream tonight. Can you tell? See?
Oh. Ooh la
Yeah.
la.
It's medical. Speaking
Very
of paranormal,
Huh. Well,
did you have a subject?
a what?
I was just asking if you had a subject. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud is what I'm doing in life.
Yeah, I got different random stuff, and like I don't know if we finished what we were talking about with the little people. I know Kevin had ended with saying something I can't remember. My mind is kind of blown right now.
He has cats. He has cats, and that's why he thinks that the little people don't come around.
Totally makes sense.
I'm glad somebody was listening.
Yeah,
I was listening, but it flew out my head.
that's all right.
These other things have like taken over.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start that conversation.
All
Yeah,
started
we
with
kind of changed topics during the break.
yeah. What is that app? No.
So,
Anyways.
Can I add something about the native thing that I found very interesting? I can't
Yes,
talk.
please.
Okay. So the same chief from the Nakota Sioux tribe, he said that, well, before 1978, before the Freedom of Religion Act, or something like that, Freedom of Religious Practices, I think it's called, Act, that Carter passed, Native Americans were not allowed to practice a lot of their ceremonies and could actually be thrown in prison up to 30 years. And because a lot of them were thrown in prisons or mental institutions, their bodies would be returned, after they, if they died during, or, who knows, of old age or whatever else that they died from. Anyway, Chief Golden Light Eagle, he said that his grandfather was a medicine man and got thrown into a mental psych ward. And when they returned his body, it had no brain. And actually 16,000 natives near the DC area were returned back to their families with no brain. And this can go into a whole different route. I could not find a thing about it on Google. He didn't even know a lot about it until talking to other Native families. So this was in 2016, I think this interview was. You can go the adrenochrome route on this, or you can go they wanted to, because think about the pineal gland on a Native person, especially a medicine man, how open that would be. Like that, I mean, probably some good pickings there, some good pineal juice or whatever, adrenochrome. Or it could also be that they just wanted to study the brains of the indigenous people, but I don't know. That's a lot of bodies with no brains in one area. And that's just in that area. Who knows about the other areas in the United States or other places? Canada or whatnot. I don't know. That's just a weird rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Moon.
Just think about if they've been doing experiments on them, and that's where they died from.
Yes, or that as well. That was Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I mean by like they were studying their brains, like doing experiments, studying their brains. I don't know.
It was funny that you brought up adrenochrome, because Vern went to get his tire fixed last week, and the tire guy started talking to him about this. And if you don't know what it is, it's adrenalized blood, and people partake of it in different ways, and it's pretty crazy. Like there's sex trafficking, there's human trafficking, and they're keeping people for this. Like, they'll adrenalize them by scaring them or torturing them or whatever and draw their blood at the time. And then different people actually take this because it has superhuman effects or whatnot. It'll give you that high without taking drugs or whatever. And supposedly it makes you live longer, which is strange. But yeah, like the whole blood network has been happening forever. But it's interesting. You go to change your tire and this guy starts talking to you about adrenochrome. And then you just mentioned it. It's actually a really big thing, and they talk about vampires.
Synchronicity.
This is different. Like, this is really sick and twisted.
Well, it's also interesting. So my son's girlfriend is Southern Ute, and so she is studying to be a medicine woman. And just like there's so many intricacies of that even if I ask, being the mom of her maybe soon to be, I don't know, maybe eventually they'll get married, but it's just really interesting on what someone on the outside really can't know, because they keep it so hush hush, and those ceremonies are so private, and you can't, as an outsider, partake unless you're invited in. And so many years ago, I did the Naraya, which is the ghost dance, which is part of a community of natives and non-natives, but they are two-spirited. And so, which I'm not two-spirited, but because I had helped out a friend, I was deemed worthy to be a part of this ceremony. And
That's
being
awesome.
part of that temple, just watching the spirits in general, like native spirits, regular spirits, just how that evolved during that whole week that I was part of this dance was phenomenal. And it's really eye-opening to what spirit really is. It's bigger than what we would imagine. And it crosses so many different lines that I think sometimes we get caught up in trying to compartmentalize it to make it smaller than what it really is, when it's really actually a bigger thing. So it's really kind of a mind-blowing kind of a thing.
Interesting.
That's actually, you had gotten some blessed cedar, I believe, from that. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts of our kit. And everybody brought something different. Like, you had brought the blessed cedar, right?
Yeah.
Did
And then...
you say you stole it?
No.
No. So after the dance, so what you do for Naraya, and I don't know if I really should be talking about it, but so you dance around a tree, and it's the tree of life. It's symbolizing life. And around the tree is these boughs of cedar, and which have been blessed by the elders of this particular group. And you had to be smudged in and smudged out. The whole week I was there, I had markings that the elders put on you on certain points of your body to help protect you. And at the end of the dance, they would let certain people take some of the cedar home with them. And so I filled up my whole back seat full of cedar at the time, which was like almost 10 years ago. And I still have some because I use it very sparingly.
And it's still good.
It is. It's like phenomenal.
I didn't even realize it was that old. That's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it too has to do with the fact that it was blessed by the elders, and that I haven't really done anything special with it. I've got it in a particular bag that I keep it in, and as a matter of fact, it's over in my thing over there. I haven't used it in a while, but we do put it in our kits because it's been blessed, and so I think it helps with those people who are really trying to figure out what's going on in their lives. And even if I'm having a hard time personally, I will light some up and walk throughout my house and say prayers to hopefully ease whatever it is that's going on in my house.
Neat.
It's awesome. Okay, so I have two different things going on here. And one I've lost again, so I'll go to this one. One thing that popped up, because I've been watching YouTube a lot lately and checking out different things, especially with the Randonautica, because I like to know as much as I can possibly before trying something. And this one chick, I guess she generally does her makeup, but she also talks about different things. Before we have talked about directional energy weapons, but they're now using, and they have in the past used, and they still use, like with pirates and such, and plus present day with all the shenanigans going on towards our own people, sonic and ultrasonic weapons, which are generally a square shape, but they also have round ones, and these can send out different sounds or even sound waves that you don't even notice are going on, but you feel sick, you get a headache, you have different random things going on. And it's directional. If you step out of the wave, you may still have after effects if you were already in it, but people try to run away from it, but it can go forever. And this is being used today to bring down different communities. Even without this, the cops in Chicago, it was like a parade going both ways all night, and even setting off fireworks and such from 10 p.m. to 3 or 4 a.m. They're using sound against people to break them down and to cause, I don't know what, but it's pretty insane. Have you guys noticed in your area or heard of such a thing being used current day?
I've heard of the military using this. I've heard of them using it underwater before. Submarines, or I'm not sure what the correlation is there, but if it's coming off of the submarine or to crawl to the submarine. But I know that I watched a documentary about them using ultrasonic waves underwater to communicate, or I'm not sure if it was to fight in the military or what it was to do, but it doesn't surprise me that they're doing that. I know they do that in music. I know that, not with sonic waves, but what they do with a lot of music nowadays is, besides backmasking, they use certain tones and certain sounds. Like if you notice, you go into like a clothing store, especially in like a mall, the music will be like really fast paced and techno-y because it gets you to buy things like that. And also subliminal messages, and it's scary because a lot of the music nowadays is directed towards the younger generation and children. And so a lot of the stuff on the radio, especially if it's a song that I can't get out of my head, that I absolutely hate, that just like I hear 2 seconds of on the radio, I'm always pretty wary of it. I'm like, okay, there's something going on there. They use that sound on purpose. They use that repetitive noise on purpose, because that's kind of like my comfort zone, kind of, is like, sounds, music, and that type of deal. So it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's also referred to as LRAD. And it's supposed to be non-lethal acoustic weaponry, but it can kill you. But it can definitely make you sick and make it to where instead of sitting there and rioting and doing whatever you're doing or protesting, you're wanting to go home because you feel sick. They use them against pirates. And there's different crazy sounds that they've been using. There's one called the paranormal sound, which you can't hear, but when you play it, it actually causes you to feel like you're watched. And if it's played for a certain amount of time, you can actually see apparitions and such. And there's also a scream that's been heard in several different places, which someone that works with this technology said, we actually have that as one of our sound weapons. And it sounds basically like a banshee or whatever screaming. And generally it'll happen during storms and somebody will hear it. At one point, somebody said it was a lab at the university that was releasing certain gases and it was causing the pipes to scream, but the college then in turn said, no, we didn't do anything like that. So people are hearing the scream that is echoing like forever for so many miles, and they're wondering, is that actually paranormal or is this LRAD being used? It's pretty crazy.
I just found a directed energy weapon on Etsy for sale.
Oh, snap.
I'm sorry. I just
watch out. We're
decided to Google it. And
how much is it? No, I'm just kidding.
It's only $120. Directed energy weapon. Unless that's
one of the
glitch
those
noise.
LRAD, one of those LRAD type devices that you were talking about, Tessa. They use in the United Kingdom. They use it to deter teenagers from lingering around shops and target areas. This particular device emits ultra high frequency blast. They said around 19 to 20 kilohertz that teenagers or people under approximately 20 years of age are susceptible to find uncomfortable, and it drives them away from the areas. Now, they also use other ones that they use to make people experience nausea and discomfort, and they use that in crowd control. They can make you have severe pain or disorientation with them, depending on what they're trying to do. There's also sometimes that they look for that they try to make your eyeballs vibrate, and thus making you disoriented and sick.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all different types of
There's
ones
also one that gives you all of that, plus it makes you shit your pants.
there is that sound that they talk about, that wave, the crapper wave. So yeah, there's all types of things they can use with that for crowd control. And like I said, some of them you cannot even hear or notice. You can hear it, but you're not able to detect it by your brain. You don't know that it's actually coming, but yet it actually makes you feel uncomfortable and wanting to leave an area. I know all of us have probably been in a situation from one time or another where we just feel uncomfortable being someplace. And that quite possibly could have been a situation where even if it wasn't purposeful, it could have been some of the electronics around you, whether it's from a cooler, refrigeration center or something like that, or even a bank of servers or something like that are causing a sound wave that just making you feel just miserable. So it's always interesting to find out what's around there that makes you, when you feel just, yucky. I know I've been in situations where I go to stand just to wait on somebody to come out of the bathroom or something, and you go to stand at that one place and you just feel like crap. You feel, tense, and you feel irritated and all that kind of stuff like that, and you just need to get out of that area. Well, I wouldn't doubt that that's purposeful to keep people from just lingering there and in a high traffic area. So it's kind of interesting to kind of keep track of some of those places that you're at sometimes and see what might be actually going on there. But those type of weaponry are very interesting, and they're, like I said, they aren't just non-lethal. They can actually kill you too. But anyways.
Well, I'm trying
and that attack at the Cuban embassy. I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. The attack at the Cuban embassy and a couple other, not the Cuban embassy, but the American embassy in Cuba, and a couple other embassies, where they had that low, vibrating sound.
China
that were making,
and Cuba.
Pardon me?
I believe it was in China and Cuba. I'm reading that right now. That's
okay, yeah. One was in China. The later one was in China. The first one was in Cuba, and that happened several times in Cuba. And then it was at a couple other embassies they found throughout the world that they had the same similar occurrence. And they still, I don't think they ever did put a culprit to it, who was actually doing it. But, and it may all been done by China and put somewhere else.
This article says audible weapons include playing Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, they've used that and it worked.
I didn't hear that last part.
I was reading this article about what you were just talking about. It said audible weapons include playing Bruce Springsteen and music from Barney the Dinosaur to loud, very loud volume.
Yeah, I think, didn't they use that in the Middle East or somewhere? They really didn't like it, and it really did work.
Yeah.
I'm
and
sorry
they tried
about
some of that stuff, some of that heavy metal music back in the 80s on Noriega and some of the other places, and to limited results. But sometimes they do disorient people over days and keep them from sleeping. And then other people might just like it. Who knows? But yeah, there's all different types of things they can do with that. And they do that with that, what's that, kids song, the shark song?
Yeah.
Babyface.
Now they play that on a continuous loop at a couple like public places, keep hobos and homeless, I shouldn't say hobos, but homeless people from sleeping there.
Different strokes,
people
different
from drug dealers from, hanging out and stuff like that. They just put it on a loop and they play it over and over and over again. They do that in several places in California.
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark, yeah, there you go. And in Miami, I know they do it there too in several places. So those are ones you know about, and
well, you were talking about heavy
there
metal.
There are many covert ones.
They use that, and you were talking to me about underwater stuff, and when they play heavy metal underwater, the sharks go crazy. Like, they're total thrashers.
Mosh pit.
Yep. Shark mosh pit.
I would love to see that, actually.
And then you get into the situation where we had all those, everything from sharks to whales and dolphins that were beaching themselves. We had scads and scads of those for a long time. And we never could put figure out exactly who was to blame for that.
Well,
although
we shortly after the planet had shifted a tad too. Do you think that could have had anything to do with it? And that's when that earthquake had happened in Japan, and the whole Fukushima radiation thing happened, which it's been leaking far longer than that off the mountain and everything. But it was shortly after that earthquake, and the poles had shifted. I think it was a very small amount. I don't think it was 10%. I think it was 10 degrees or 10%, whichever one is the smallest. It tilted. So I wonder if that had anything to do with it, because it did wake up the crickets, and there was still snow on the ground. Like, they all just woke up all at once. It was pretty insane.
Well, after that let's go through this. After that earthquake, it had shifted 1 degree, but the magnetic pole is in the process of shifting 10
degrees. So that
degrees.
would be 10%, right? 1 degree, 10%.
Well, it was 1%, I think it was, or 1 degree. But neither one was 10% or 10 degrees. That's a huge amount, and we would have all known that when that happened. It would have been a catastrophic thing if it happened all at once, 10% or 10 degrees, either one. The 1%. The 1% thing. The 10 degrees is a number. The 10 is a real number, and it is in a process of doing that. It's been in the process of doing that for like 10 years, because it's moving away from up at the North Pole to over into Russia, and that's a real thing. Also, that's the 10 one. But this other one, when it happened with the earthquake, was a 1%er or something like that. And I know when you talk about that, it's a pet peeve of mine, because that's a huge number. That 10 is a huge number.
Yeah,
and it
here
would have
it
made
says
big.
It shifted the Earth's axis by 6.5 inches or 17 centimeters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder, different things like that in the global warming, which I recently found out, had we not had the whole human global warming thing going on, we would be going into the cold stage for the Earth, so we'd be going into an ice age. So, yay humans. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's what we're expecting from this global warming thing, is that the Earth will go ahead and do its correction. The natural correction that the Earth will do for global warming is to kick itself into an ice age to bring down the temperature.
Yeah,
and
we're supposed to be going into an ice age, but we're not because we kept it warm.
Yeah, and the Earth goes into natural, that's a process, and that ice age that they're talking about is a short-term, shallow ice age, but the one that will most likely be kicked into because of the global warming will be a deep freeze ice age and a long-lasting one.
Yeehaw.
But like I said, these are all just, predictions and from scientists and patterns and stuff like that. But I can't, that's just my opinion on their opinions and this, that, and the other thing. So, and I don't want to be saying I'm an expert, nothing like that. Okay. But that I did want to correct on that one thing about what happened in that earthquake. But yeah, we did have a point about everything else there before that got happening, and I can't remember for the life of me what we were talking about.
We were talking about the sharks and whales and stuff and sound.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're beaching themselves, and I was like, could this have anything to do with it? Because it was shortly after that this stuff did start happening and the whole warming of the oceans and such.
Point. Yeah, that was a real good point, and that is an interesting fact in there. And because the Earth does, that's it. Pick on me, because the other thing that bothered me, it was around the same time when the Navy was doing their in the process of finishing up their underwater survey, when they made their high definition mapping system of the entire ocean floor. And they were doing their high pings, their special pinging system and all that crap. And whether or not that was destroying the echo, their systems, their echo chamber systems, and the whales and the stuff, and then all that crap too. So that was a question there.
Biosonar waves will affect like dolphins and whales and things like that. So I thought maybe the beached whales could have something to do with that as well. But I'm not sure if you were talking about. I didn't know you were talking about a specific like time period. But
yeah, because it seemed like it was all happening about the same time. And that's when all those mermaids came up with the crushed skulls on those TV shows. Melanie remembers those. Don't you, Melanie? Remember those mermaid shows that they came up on the TV specials? Maybe not. Maybe it was just me. I was glued to my TV set watching it.
Well, I thought it was funny when they said that mermaids are actually monkeys that got stuck on a rock in the water and they, ended up turning into mermaids. I'm like, okay.
That
we're
interesting.
Monkeys. We're just monkeys too. Come on now. We're just the only ones that figured out, like, how to build things and make fire and, all that stuff. Electricity, iPhones. I mean, we're a little... That's a whole nother story.
We're the only ones that figured out how to clip our toenails.
Right? How is that possible? Shouldn't my horse figure out how to file its own feet down by now?
Oh, man.
Good luck with that.
That is some serious stuff.
So earlier I was reminded of the story that I read, and what reminded me was talking about your chicken leg. And I understand I had one. My left leg was a chicken leg for a little while. You got your big old beefy leg, then your chicken leg because you broke
so
something. But I found
Your
the
chicken
story.
leg.
Yeah. And it says, leading up to the 1-year anniversary of their son's death, a Minnesota family says that they have been comforted by the presence of a mysterious chicken which has inexplicably taken up residence at this grave over the last few weeks. The strangeness reportedly began about 3 weeks ago when Dan and Karen Miller noticed a red hen hanging around the gravesite of their son Aiden, who passed away on July 22nd of last year at the age of 16. And they said, "We don't know where this thing came from." The young man's father said, "She just showed up one evening, actually." According to the family, the curious chicken has remained at the grave ever since that day. "It seems crazy," Dan marveled. "There's probably 1,000 other stones in the cemetery, but it just refuses to leave this one." The bird has become such a constant presence at the spot that the Millers have even given it a name, and they call her Angel, and have taken providing feeding for the animal since it seems to have made a home of their son's final resting place. She's brought a lot more
Well, it needs
smiles.
place somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, and she said she's brought a lot more smiles than tears these past few weeks, Karen said, crediting the creature with providing some much-needed comfort as the anniversary of Aiden's death has approached and the family has been faced with another struggle in the form of a breast cancer diagnosis she received at around the same time that the animal first appeared. Noting that their son was particularly fond of chickens that the family raised at their farm, his mother theorized that the bird may be some kind of message of support from their late son. "I've always said I don't believe in coincidence," she mused. "I think it's something bigger than that." So that was pretty cool. And it's a lighthearted, paranormal weird story, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend who likes to use the hummingbirds. She's a deceased friend, and she likes hummingbirds, and so I've used those. I hope my chickens, if I die, are on my grave. Like, I love my chickens so much. They're so sweet. Like, that's so cute. That's such a cute story.
I liked it.
Oh, we have a request. I guess we might want to wait till after we get back from the next break. But it's has to do with astral travel and reaching higher consciousness, and how we might be able to reach other people's higher consciousnesses. And it's going to be, I guess it'll probably be a bigger topic, but we might want to hit it when we get back or something. I don't know. It's up to you. It's your show.
Yeah, we got a few minutes before we're going to break, so it's a good idea. We'll wait till afterwards, I suppose. Poor Sleepy, where'd he go?
He might be reaching his higher consciousness.
After the story he just told.
I was getting a contact higher consciousness from just being around him. Just kidding.
I thought it was awesome, like, with all the stuff that's going on, the way he spends his time. Like, a lot of people just tune into TV or whatever else and get depressed and overweight and whatnot, but he's sitting there building all these little dioramas and making COVID-19 vehicles and sharing pictures and all kinds of stuff. I'm glad he finally found a job, because I know it was a high point of stress for him. He got laid off when this stuff first started happening, but I'm so glad that he found a job and he's doing better. And but yeah, I like the way he spent his time. Like, he was actually doing something and building something instead of laying dormant.
I love it when people have hobbies. Like, it's always healthy. Like, I've never dated a person that didn't have a hobby or a passion. If you do, they're usually crazy. So that you like have hobbies, have passions. Like, there has to be something, not just like hobbies, but like something that drives you, you know, like whatever it is. A passion. That's the difference between a hobby and a passion, I guess. Like, origami would be my hobby, but like it doesn't turn me on. So I mean,
Like, yeah, that origami bird was nice, but
Well, and some of us,
it's over now.
have found the app TikTok. So some of us in our spare time make stupid TikTok videos.
Yes, that was helping when I couldn't walk. I'm kind of glad I discovered it, and I'm kind of glad I discovered it with a broken leg, and I did start off doing stupid little TikTok dances, like as the first video, because I have a little girl that's staying here on the property, and she does the little TikTok videos. She's the one that kind of made me get a TikTok in the first
that's
place,
awesome.
and I'm like, I have an excuse not to do little TikTok dances with her, which is nice.
I don't do any of the dances. I usually do all the duets.
Those are fun.
They are.
A couple.
Well, it's amazing, though, how many different paranormal happenings have happened on TikTok with people just doing a dance to a certain song and something happens in the background and it's totally, like, unplanned. You can tell by the reaction of the person. And a lot of times they don't even realize it until later on. And then it's shared on, like, Chills or Nuke's Top 5 or whatever. It's pretty interesting. You know, everybody's got a camera now and you're catching different various things. There are also apps that put different shenanigans in your pictures, but you can tell when something's cut in, when something's not, or I can.
Well, and it's interesting too that like out of all of a sudden I have been contacted by all these, well, not all these, but several paranormal groups, because in my thing I do say I'm a paranormal investigator. So and just getting that extra, like, networking that you wouldn't dream of finding on TikTok, but now we have this networking piece where I'm like, oh yeah, go check out our group's Facebook page. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's a lot of fun. I get to make a fool of myself, and yeah. Anyway.
I like your videos. I've hearted them all, I think. I might have missed some within the last couple days, but especially today.
Well, I just did some. I haven't moved them over to Instagram yet. They'll be eventually moved over, but
nice. I don't know.
I got into conspiracy TikTok, unfortunately, and it wasn't my intention, but now I've been stuck there for a while, and you know, some of it's crazy, but I have such a questioning mind, but I'm not one of those people that just believes every freaking conspiracy out there. But I find them, there's some that I just go, you know, like the Wayfair thing. I mean, the Wayfair thing, they said it was proved as false, but how else can you explain a $10,000 cabinet with the name, a very strange name of a girl that just went missing?
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's very strange. That's really, really weird. And especially since you could find the exact same cabinet for like, what, $300 or something. You know, it doesn't make sense. And even though they said they debunked it, like if you Google it, Google and YouTube are so censored right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy. Like you can't find anything about anything, you know, as far as through Google or YouTube anymore. So a lot of people are, even though the whole Chinese government thing with TikTok is going down, the censorship is not there like it is on, you know, I mean, there is some censorship. Like I typed in cutting horse and they thought I needed help. They said need help, and they gave me the suicide hotline on TikTok.
Geez.
I was cracking up. I have 2 accounts. I have one for like animals and one for like my music and conspiracy theories. And so I don't know why I have 2. I made one a long time ago and never used it, and so I just started like kind of posting animals and stuff. But it's just, I thought that was the funniest thing ever. But yet you can post anything about, you know, Pizzagate and all this stuff that is flagged by Google is not flagged on TikTok, which is why it's all being spread so fast. Like the second somebody learns, but you have to really filter out a lot of this stuff. I mean, there's some of it that are like, I don't know. And some of it I'm like, I don't care too, you know? Like,
right.
like the whole Michelle Obama is a man. Who cares if she's a man or she isn't a man? You know,
Right.
like that's not the type of stuff that I want to waste my time on.
Right.
Well, and I've been on the, like, I swear on my For You page, like every other video is like tarot reading. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? I need to get my cards out? Like, hello.
Real quick.
I'm not very good at it, but maybe it's a sign.
Go ahead,
Well,
Sleepy.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you
Hold
could be an awesome reader, like, on there, and you're so good with people and so intuitive. Like, I feel like that would be cool.
What did
Oh,
you...
is Sleepy
No,
trying to say something?
Sleepy?
Yeah, I was just about the Michelle Obama thing. It's not the issue of whether it is a man or a woman. The issue is the deception. Okay, that's the issue. Let's be honest. It's the deception thereof and denying. Okay, not being honest and truthful about it. That's the issue. At least
I
that's what I.
understand that's the issue, but, like, okay, look, Obama's not president anymore, number one. I just mean, like, that's not priority. With all the sex trafficking stuff,
look
the
what
Epstein stuff,
Got in
that's the
House.
stuff that I'm like, you know, yeah.
They look. Let me tell you, they were not honest about it.
Epstein's Island is the same address from SpongeBob. Okay. Epstein's, I will say that again.
That's
Have
fucking
you seen,
weird.
it's like 125 conch cell or something like that? No, I'm not kidding you. I won't use profanities, but I looked this one up. Even though Google says it's debunked, you have to do it separately. You have to look up the address on SpongeBob's little, whatever it's called, 125 Conch Bikini Bottom, Conch Street Bikini Bottom, or whatever. It's something close to that. And then you look that up, you Google Maps it, and that is Epstein's Island. Like, okay, I'm sorry, but that's creepy.
That is creepy. But on that note, we do have to go to our second musical break with Brooke Casey and Main Thing. We got Nonye Toria with Manyaye, Paper Loving, and Yunga. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this musical break.
I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Now don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Vanilla chocolate flavored, you're the only one that I'm searching for. You the one for me and I can't complain. You sunshine anytime it rain. Not around then I might go insane. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Honey, you're so sweet, I can't ignore. Thinking about you both more and more. Making it pop and drop and swing. I could be the king and you my queen. Yeah, they look good, but you I'm saying. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Who's them dudes in the back with the black on? True deep, don't sleep or slack on. Come to the money, honey, I'ma get a stack on. Excuse me, ma, can I get my Mac on? To the left, throw it to the right. Do it like you wanna do it to me all night. From the block, kid know how to act hard. Like brick house, women with a fat backyard. In the club with me and my man skillin' that. In the back door with me and my man chillin' that. I'm on the floor, I'm like, damn, she killin' that. It's going down, no cop around, feelin' that. I'm fly, I'm a guy that'll get him. Player like me, need two of you with him. Call you a lollipop and I wanna lick you. Number one, my top choice of pick. Yeah, give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Now don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Can you keep it going? On and on and on. Now give it to me, ma. Go, go, girl. Now don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Hey, break it down for me, hit it, get it gone. Cause you got it going on and on and on. Can't deny the way that you two fly. Anytime that I look you in the eye, a phenomenon that I can't explain. Like the things you're doing to my brain. You the only one to take away my pain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Can't stop thinking about how you move and all the things that I'ma do to you. True, this might be a little bit strange. Don't care if I don't even know your name. That's why I wanna tell you this simple and plain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Who's them chicks all thick with the pumps on? Lumps in the front, back with the bumps on. Not a cat hoping that he get his humps on. I'm way beyond with them other chumps on. Sweet enough to eat and he might bite you. Wanna make love to you, I don't wanna fight you. Nobody like you, not a one like you. When you come around, no telling what he might do. Right now in the club, who the dawn? Don't a man that got it going on later on. I could tell by the dancing, you digging this song. You can tell I've been digging you all night long. And I love to be digging in you all night long. Party right here, hardy all night long. Let's flex it to the coat check, exit to the Lexus. Nexus, triple exit. Come on, give it to me, ma. Go, girl. Nah, don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Break it down for me. Get it gone. Can you keep it going? On and on and on. Now give it to me, ma. Go, girl. Nah, don't stop. Oh, no, girl. Hey, break it down for me. Get it gone. Cause you got it going on and on and on. I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Nah, don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main. I like it when you pop it, drop it, swing. Nah, don't stop it, doing that thing. Go, girl, keep doing that thing. I just wanna make you my main thing. Vanilla chocolate flavored, you're the only one that I'm searching for. You the one for me and I can't complain. You sunshine anytime it rain. Not around then I might go insane. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Honey, you so sweet, I can't ignore. Thinking about you both more and more. Making it pop and drop and swing. I could be the king and you my queen. Yeah, they look good, but you I'm saying. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Cannot believe that you too fly. Anytime that I look you in the eye, a phenomenon that I can't explain. Like the things you're doing to my brain. You the only one to take away my pain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that. Can't stop thinking about how you move and all the things that I'ma do to you. True, this might be a little bit strange. Don't care if I don't even know your name. That's why I wanna tell you this simple and plain. I just wanna make you my main thing. I like it when you pop that, drop that. Keep going, baby, now don't you stop that.
너의 몽자의 오리미 몽자의 오리미 몽자의 오리미 몽자의 오리미 몽자의 오리미 몽자의 오리미 Some do good just for the doing. See everything just for the seeing. Don't even care what you're receiving. Through all the heights just for relying. I'll be fine, fine, fine lady. I don't wanna be your baby. All I wanna do is get crazy. Wanna have me just get ready. Now wait till I sabi. I did tell you all my how life is. Now so show love with your heart and show love with your soul. 몽자의 오리미 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 Some people help just for the helping. Few people love just for true loving. Give everything just for the giving. Don't even care what you be receiving. I'll be fine, fine, fine lady. I don't wanna be your baby. All I wanna do is get crazy. Wanna have me just get ready. Now wait till I sabi. I did tell you all my how life is. Now so show love with your heart and show love with your soul. 몽자의 오리미 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 Swag beat funky yeah 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 너네 너네 너네
She know me treat her better than her man.
But she a worry about the millions, the millions, the millions. You love me for true, but certain things in life I say I want to do. Hey, so you say me need to understand that you are made for a money man. But if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. They say I love him, but I love you more. He took me shopping sprees and bought me finer, but a girl needs more. You're the one that gave me proper loving. Him, I have all the money, everything to satisfy me vanity, but in my heart I knew you were the only one that I would be loving from now till the end of time.
Don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
Girl, I know you want stability, but that no mean say you fi sell your soul for vanity, no. Bright lights, fast cars at the city, and the fast lane make you lose your sanity. But me can't believe you sell yourself so short. Forget the money you will make, man, break your parts. But your life make your choice because me now make you break my heart, no. If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator,
I wanted to learn the hard way, so I'm taking you to lover school. You want money just for party, girl. You take me for fool.
Every piece of my heart I gave away, I gave it away to you. Why don't you understand, babe? What I feel for you is true. So
if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. Now, trafficator, yeah. Show me your yanga, show me your yanga, eh. Show me your yanga, eh. Yeah.
None, yeah.
I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere, like, I love music, Niger music, Niger, yeah. They go everywhere, like, yeah. Show me your yanga, show me your yanga, yeah. Show me your yanga, yeah. Show me your yanga, show me your yanga, show me your yanga, yeah. Oh yeah, come, let's wind it down. Night the people dance to the sound. Show me your yanga, let's hit the town. Let's thank Almighty God that it's Friday. The way you're shaking your waist, don't stop till you dance all day. With a groove, the Niger way. If you like to Atlanta, and take it better. Niger music is alive, eh? We got the hottest music out there. You know, start from today. We'll be hitting it from Monday to Sunday. Everybody get ready. It's time for us to get steady. Everywhere we go, Niger music now number one. Music. short, slim or fat, hey, now you're palatable. I beg throw away your face, like they let people come throw away your face. It don't really matter cause we all in the race. That's all we could be till we all meet the danger.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. Tonight we have the Paradox Paranormal Forum with Moonlight, a.k.a. Mooney, a.k.a. Kevin McDougal. We have Mia Savage. We have Melanie Faith Oles-Graham. That's a mouthful. As well as Mr. SleepyDave Davenport. Welcome back, guys.
Moon was just chastising me. I just played with her. I like me. I don't have a problem.
Woo-hoo!
Me is awesome. So is Mel. I like my friends and my paranormal family.
So glad to be back. Thank you for having us here.
Long, pretty hair.
What?
I said, I like your hair. You have very long, pretty hair. I like that.
I'll send it to you. It's a pain in the ass.
All right. Put them on top of my head. Okay. Maybe Moo to make me a toupee.
That's hot.
That's right. We were having an unknown giveaway, and Sleepy Dave's the winner.
Just tell me.
I like Mel's eyes. I like to just stare into your eyes, like on the screen, because you have like this little twinkle, like a little fey twinkle in your eyes. It's so cool.
I'm holding mine over here, too. You see that one?
When we were going on break, we were talking about the shadow of Michael Jackson that was spotted in a particular show. Mooney said he had seen the same thing. Like, that's definitely Michael Jackson, right? This little clip that they didn't even mean to get.
Yeah. It was eerie. It was freakish. And that you said the same thing that I said when I saw it. I was like, oh wow, this is bad. This is just bad. It, you know,
it's bad.
No
it's
pun
bad.
intended.
Do you know it?
If you have to see,
Really, really bad.
look it up. I'm sure if you could Google it. Somebody I don't know if they were at Père Lachaise Cemetery or a place where Jim Morrison used to live. I can't remember, but this guy snapped a picture, and it was basically like a shadow of Morrison doing his famous, holding out his arms.
Tom Petty.
yeah.
No, Tom Petty was there at the cemetery, and you see Jim Morrison in the background spreading his arms from the two different tombstones.
Yeah.
Was it Tom Petty? Was it that one?
Yeah, it was Tom Petty's picture. Well, let me put this way. Tom Petty took a picture like that.
Oh, okay. So that's what was going around. I didn't know Tom Petty actually took that photo.
Yeah,
and
that was from when he visited the grave, Jim Morrison's grave.
Yeah, I thought his daughter took a picture of him in front of the grave, and there's a picture of Tom Petty, and then right behind him you see Jim Morrison, and you could totally tell it's him, just like the shadow of Michael Jackson. That was totally him.
And so that was a big thing, for Petty, because he was a huge fan and everything, and he finally got to go to France and everything and all this stuff, and then that picture came back, and then he was just like freaked and everything else, and I still can't believe we lost Tom Petty too.
I know. That sucked.
So young.
He did that one concert, and then he died after that night, I think.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
I mean, he certainly wasn't ready to see him go.
Warren Zevon.
Regis Philbin just died today or yesterday.
What?
And
88.
he was always such a good guy. He was so fun to watch and listen to. And
Regis.
Yeah.
He's one of the last wholesome guys around, you know.
Yeah, he was. You know, he was one of those guys. That's just
He had a good light.
Yeah, it was just so fun to watch. You know, he was a lovable kind of guy. I thought, and it was interesting. He was always interesting to hear a story from him, and he was a funny guy. And like you said, he was a wholesome kind of guy, and he was from one of those, you know, just one of those people that no matter what, it was going to be a comfortable situation, and you could enjoy whatever's going to come out of his mouth. And it was, anyways.
Mr. Green, the founder of Fleetwood Mac, he also he passed away today, or yesterday, depending on where you live.
I like when Regis did the guest shot on Seinfeld when Kramer presented the coffee table book.
Oh yeah,
that was funny. You know, because it felt like a real, like, you know, you're watching a real episode of, what was it, Good Morning America then or something he hosted? And yeah, look, it's funny and odd to sit here in the year 2020 and look at Jeopardy and see Alex Trebek still hosting it, because I was something like 7 years old or something 7 or 8 when he first started hosting Jeopardy. I think he started in 1984, so I was 10.
Well, he even got pancreatic cancer and kept going.
Yeah, and when you grow up with these old timer kind of guys, and he's been doing game shows, hosting those, you know, long before that, like even in the 70s, like Password, and I think whatever. But you know, and who's going to replace him? You know, I don't know who they're going to.
Well, that.
Kanye
will come. Kanye
West.
Did you hear Kanye West is running for president?
Hollywood Squares.
Yeah.
That's what I think that would be a hit now. Hollywood Squares.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, that's sort of one they need to bring back.
Caitlyn Jenner.
You know, I missed that dating show. Do you remember that dating show? Not
the dating game.
Blind Date.
The dating game.
There was the dating game, and there was Blind Date though too.
Yeah.
Blind Date, and things would go disastrously wrong. I'm gonna look up those videos because I love Blind Date and I love Cheaters. Like I used to love watching that when I was young.
Yeah,
like,
it's still on.
They were my late night favorites.
You should do an internet version of Love Connection. Call it Lovers Connections or something. You know.
Well, Chuck Woolery, he was one of my favorites too. He's probably pretty.
I actually
I
had a really good idea for an app for dating, and it's basically like an app. It's like a blind date app, but basically you have your best friend or like somebody related to you actually find you someone on this app and like get you two together, you know? Like I think that would be the coolest thing, because I've done that for people before and they went very well. I mean, at first for a long time they went really well. So that wasn't my fault, but I mean, like, I feel like somebody's like sibling, or not your parents, but your like sibling or your best friend could totally
people
find
that really
you. Like,
know you.
Yeah, almost better than what you could do for yourself.
That's a good idea. You better copyright it.
Hey, let's talk about astral travel and higher levels of consciousness and all that good stuff. Is that okay?
Right,
who said that? Was that you, Melanie?
I said, all right, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
I can barely hear you now. I don't know what happened to your mic.
Me?
But I can hear you, but I could barely hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
There we go. Okay, go ahead, Mooney. Sorry.
Well, it was just recently, I was listening to it was Geraldine, can't pronounce it, but I'll say it. You know who Geraldine is. Say what?
Orozco.
Geraldine yeah.
Orozco?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Probably.
Orozco. I don't know.
Orozco or something. Yeah.
Yeah, we know who you're talking about.
I'd ask a question and she came back with answered a totally different question, but she actually answered the question I was really wanted to get into. And she was mentioning the different levels of like astral travel in the higher dimensions, and she had put in like the dream world and the what do you call it when you have the control of a dream?
Lucid dreaming.
Lucid dreaming, like so she was taking like the lucid dreaming and putting it at one level, and then astral travel was above that, and then she was going through and talking about the different levels above all that, and then like the acoustic records and stuff were way up there, and I had been wondering about all that. I'd always wanted to try to tap into the acoustic records, and that had really kind of set me off because I'd always was wondering where they all fit in and everything. And anyways, after that, well, actually during while she was talking, answering the question, I had like my left ear went deaf, and then I started getting this buzzing sound in it, and it was almost as if I was getting a download. And anyways, that night when I went to sleep, I put myself into meditation at night when I get ready to go to bed, and because I have a hard time getting to sleep, so I put myself almost in like a trance state, and I will normally either go to sleep or into a astral travel point at that stage right there, just to get me started off for the evening, so that I can actually go to sleep or go somewhere, so I can physically start to rest my body. And that particular night, I immediately went straight through, and I went, which would have been like an astral travel. I just shot straight past it, and I just ascended straight, just kept going up, and I just feel myself ascending and ascending and ascending, and I reached the point of the acoustic records, and I was able to start walking the halls and being at that level and being around the knowledge that everything was encrypted. As far as to me, it wasn't like it was like it was encrypted, but it wasn't. It was just in different languages that I didn't know. And I could sense what things were, but I wasn't able to read the words on the walls, the symbolism and stuff like that. The symbols didn't mean, I wasn't able to read them. I could get an idea of what was there and what the knowledge was, but I wasn't able to just straight out read it or decipher it. I would wake up and I would still have the drawings and the words and stuff would just like burned into the retinas of my eyes. I'd turn on the TV set and they'd still be brighter. It would still be brighter, burnt like into the retinas than the whites on the TV set. That's how much they were stuck in my eyes. And I went back several nights after that, and I still I still had ideas and concepts about what I'd learned and what I saw, or put it this way, what I saw and what I felt, the knowledge I was getting, but I still was not able to read the words and stuff. I decided to cool it at that point right there. and I wanted to try to get a better understanding of how to tap into it and how I should go approach it. And at that point, when I let that set aside there, and the following days, I was able to start understanding parts of my life better. It was almost as if the knowledge that was there was finally, it was soaking into my mind, and I was understanding other things that I actually did get the knowledge one way or the other. And I was actually starting to understand other things and other bits and pieces of puzzles that I've been trying to figure out for years. I also feel that I understand parts of astral travel and parts of the situations that go, the phases your body goes through and your mind goes through, what your mind goes through as you begin to travel and go through the meditation and the transition as your meditation gets your mind ready for the point to go, and then you get ready to go. I understand more of the phases and how they actually are working in your mind to do it. And so I'm still in the process right now of trying to see how all that I got when I was there, how it is affecting my life and helping me understand what's going on in just general. So I've been taking kind of a sideline approach to life lately with everybody. I've not been talking to people very much, and I've been kind of in awe and wonder in my own personal life. I've been sleeping a lot because I need to catch up, because, you know, I've had oral surgery and stuff. But on the other hand, there's just been so much going on mentally that I almost don't want to talk. And tonight was the first night that I really felt like talking. So when the opportunity of you asking me if I wanted to come on, I was like, yeah. I actually felt in the mood tonight, and I felt like sharing things, and so I was thankful for your invitation.
Well, I'm really glad you did join us. But with what you were saying, like, have you considered doing some sort of regression? Or, you know, we had the doctor on last weekend, Dr. Woodard, talking about hypnosis and self-hypnosis even, and it all starts with meditation. And when you were talking about when you're trying to sleep doing this sort of meditation thing, the thing I was trying for a while was slightly rolling my eyes back, because your body naturally does that to go to sleep. So I'm trying to trick myself before I discovered the low light weird tilt on my phone that like really puts me to sleep really fast. But if you slightly roll your eyes back and close your eyes and relax, like, it actually does work. I'm not good at meditation. I'm working on it. But maybe a regression or some sort of self-hypnosis or something could help you, since you are good at doing a meditation.
I was interested in what he was talking about. I want to go back through. I want to see about exactly what you were talking about self-hypnosis, and I would like to learn how to put myself into that situation. And I would also like to find out if he sounded like a pretty good guy. If he does do that type of thing, if I could get in a session with him to find out a few things. There's several things I'd like to find out. If
I were you, I'd definitely contact him and see what he could do, because I genuinely think that he's a really good guy. I got some really good vibes off of him. I'm a pretty good judge of character, I think.
So yeah, I would like to probably pursue him. He gave me a good feeling also, and I haven't had that with the folks that I've talked to that do that type of thing. And so I think my first step will be trying to do a little self-help
my God.
hypnosis. And,
Oh, sorry. I didn't know the mic was on. My cat tried to open the door, and it was kind of like something out of a scary movie. Like, I just watched that handle, like, and I was like, what? But sorry. It was right after I turned my mic on. I apologize.
No worries.
But there's been so much going on, and I don't know why my cats want to go out all the time now. And they're loving it outside. It's almost like trying to bring them in from the wild. They've like transgressed backwards. But everything seems a little strange. Even in, I think the wildlife has moved in a good bit still yet over the summer. And it's just the whole way with the community and everything. Nothing's like, nothing's back to normal yet. I think we've seen so much, even in on the news with the spotting of whales and different types of animals and stuff. They've seen a comeback with a lot of these populations that they haven't seen in years.
Yeah, I like the way that wildlife was taken over, like Denver, and they were doing it every night. The coyotes and stuff, downtown Denver, howling because everybody was at home, nobody was doing anything, and it's pretty interesting how quickly nature does take over in situations like that, or come back up. It's pretty intriguing, and I love it. Some people might get scared, but I'm just like, that is so awesome.
It is like craziness out there, and we just have to keep remembering nature comes back real quick. And that all that stuff, that show that used to be on Life After People, I think it would be much faster than what they show. How fast we'll be, any trace of us would be wiped off the earth if we disappeared.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like so many places that are near very big cities, like in Mexico and other places, and nobody has any sort of clue that this huge metropolis or whatever is right next door under a bunch of vines and trees and such, and the satellites are picking them up. Nobody had a clue that this place ever existed in so many different continents. There seems to be so many cases where satellites can pick up different structures and depths and whatnot, even if it's underneath growth.
And as far as astral traveling, is anybody else? I know Mia has.
Yes.
When I go to astral travel, I don't pick out places normally to go. I allow myself to serve,
but you're allowed to set your intention, and that's what I was going to add earlier. You're allowed to do that. You're going to serve if you're going to see and do what you're supposed to do for the most part, unless you have some negative things or thoughts or whatever that's going on. But like I just did a deal for a girl. I did an astral investigation, I guess you could call it, on someone for her. And I set that intention, and it always happens. It doesn't always happen that day, but it'll happen, sometimes. For me, it's within 3 days of setting the intention of, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to go.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you're okay. And it's totally fine. You do that. Like I did with my guides the other day when I found out, or I don't want to call them my personal guides, but I've been in tune to the whole native thing for a long time. I have some native in me, and it's not, it's not a ton. It's not like I'm half or anything, but I mean, it's at least 1/16 or whatever, at least. I don't really know, but, it's weird because I set the intention, and it's like nonstop, even in my waking hours, I'm able to communicate with them. Like once you open that line of communication, it doesn't, it's crazy. And so if you want to, like, when I had my experience with the ET from Andromeda, I set that intention for, that took longer. That took like at least a week before I got any responses. And I wasn't even looking for anyone in particular. I just was like, okay, so what, if the starseed stuff is real, what star system am I connected with, right? And I had no idea a lot of this information. And then 2 nights in a row, I had an experience with this being. And one of them, I wasn't completely asleep. It was like how you see when you're partially out of your body. I mean, I looked and the room was exactly the same way it was. I wasn't out of my body. I saw her standing there. I called her mother, weirdly enough. And it was like, she was like, we're ready to go. She was standing in front of a portal in my bedroom, like right there. But that was because I was like half, in like dream, astral dream state. Yeah.
They do that, Mia. They do that kind of crap, and I hate it when they do it. They try to make you think that, oh, I'm your mother or I'm your father or whoever. Come on, it's time to go. We're going to go this.
Yep.
And I can't stand that crap.
You can't stand it. I asked for it though. I was like, okay, so take me somewhere, right? And I was like asking for my guides, and I would get these messages throughout the day. And then I had my dream the first night, and then the second night I was about to have another astral dream, but I wasn't completely asleep yet. And so it was like she was just standing there looking at me like in front of this like kind of orangish portal, and just kind of like standing there in front of my dresser like, come on, it's time to go. And I'm like, crap, now I'm not going to be able to fall asleep. And then I just did. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to remember that one. So, but you kind of like, if you set an intention, there's nothing wrong with setting an intention, and to get your questions answered. I think the Akashic thing is really cool that you were able to go in there. I think I've been there a couple of times, but not in a long time because I haven't asked for it, or I just don't remember. I remember seeing like this bronze type, like, files, like in a bronze kind of like, I guess you can like
bronze plates,
describe kind of like bronze kind of, what is the word that I'm looking for, steampunk looking file cabinets in a room. That's what I saw, and I don't remember much of it, but I've been there a couple of times. I didn't put 2 and 2 as far as the Akashic record thing goes. I don't know if that's what it was, but I've been there actually probably more than 2 times, just not recently that I remember. But there's nothing wrong with setting an intention and waiting a couple days. Usually it's right when you kind of forget about it, because it'll be like the second or third night after you set the intention really hard, and then your brain kind of loses interest, and that's when it happens. It's crazy. It's weird how that works too, because like I'll set an intention. Sometimes I'll set an intention and I'll go where I'm wanting to go, or I'll have a lucid dream. But usually it's right after I forget about what my intention was, which is like the next day or the following.
Yeah, because I thought that I just couldn't. I thought because I didn't go when I said to go, that I just wasn't able to. But like you were saying, it would be a lot of times it would be days afterwards, sometimes even a week. And then all of a sudden that I was going to do the thing that I set out to do before. And I was like, okay. I was figuring at that point.
It's weird.
They were just,
you forget about it and then you go there.
Yeah. Cause I figured they were like, saying, okay, you weren't able to do it. So we're going to do it for you. But I get what you're saying. That makes a lot more sense because it was still my search and my thing and everything else. And
well, I've never done hypnosis. I think hypnosis would be very interesting. I don't know if I'd be afraid to do that. On myself, I wouldn't be afraid, but having someone else do hypnosis on me would be, I would try it. I've always wanted to try it. And Tess, you said somebody who does hypnosis?
Yeah, it was our guest on the 19th, and he does hypnosis. He also does self-hypnosis. And he was also talking about a state that he got to during his meditation where he was out of his body. Like he felt like he was floating. He was away from his body. He knew he was somewhere in the room. He wasn't quite sure. So I think he accidentally astraled, which is the only way I've ever done it, because astraling really scares me. So I've only done it involuntarily a couple times. But yeah, he's really awesome, down to earth, and a really good soul. Him and another lady, I gotta look her back up. I had her on when I first started doing the weekend show for SOR, but she would do past life regression and hypnosis. And I had considered it in the past for smoking. And then my friend scared me, which she also scared me on vaccinations. And I had a really horrible experience after that, so I might consider that. But she's like, be careful when you do that because they can really hurt you doing that. But according to Dr. Frederick Woodard, he says that there's nothing they can make you do that you don't want to do. And it's basically you taking control of your mind through somebody else's guidance. And you can actually learn to do this yourself, which I find really intriguing. I've never heard that before, but this guy's been doing this for years. And I love the way that he's not only doing hypnosis and therapy, but he's also looking into the field of the paranormal, which really intrigues me because a lot of times those two don't mix. So, yeah, he's really amazing.
I did have a really bad experience watching someone in hypnosis by this kind of not so kind of, we'll put the word creepy on this guy just for, I mean, I don't know if he actually is creepy. I just always got a weird vibe off of him. And I kind of knew him through mutual friends. He was a hypnotist, and we were at a party one time, and he did his hypnosis on a girl and basically told her she was on like an LSD trip, but she hadn't taken anything. She was just under hypnosis. And she actually started to freak out and have like a bad hypnosis LSD trip that wasn't actually, like, there was no drugs involved in this. He just did his hypnosis thing and told her she was on LSD and made this
That's messed up.
I know, and she freaked out. She was crying. I mean, she was fine when she popped out of it, but she still felt the emotions even when she came out of it. She's like, what happened? Like, she knew something happened, right? And, like, kind of, like, remembered it, but, like, I think it gave her PTSD, to be honest. But that was not, like, you know, that wasn't, like, I wouldn't call that person that did it a healer or anything else, you know, and I highly doubt anyone else is going to do something like that. But that kind of really turned me off to hypnosis for years because, I mean, at that point, I'm like, okay, it's 100% real. It's 100% a real thing, and people can implant these thoughts into your head. And that's what freaked me out.
Well, yeah, you've heard about kids, and they come back with these different things, like my daddy molested me or whatever, when this never happened. And I've heard different things like that. Yeah, false memories. And then I was listening to Dr. Frederick Woodard, which I generally don't do, but I was feeling a little perturbed, like, man, I'm like totally out of my field talking about this stuff. So I wanted to hear what he had to say. And he was talking about this one case where this woman was hypnotized by a certain person, not him, but somebody else, and he's watching this, but he made her go into his jacket, take $1 out, basically stealing from this guy, made her steal this $1 and put it in her purse. And when she came to from the hypnosis, she was genuinely pissed at the guy. So she remembered what he had done and what he had made her do, and she didn't want to do it. So it makes me wonder, like, okay, so you're saying, like, they can't make you do anything you don't want to or what's against your nature, but this chick genuinely did not want this to happen, and so she was very irritated and frustrated afterwards.
They can make you do stuff. Like, that is 100%. I mean, like, with my coworkers, we were doing, like, a trade show deal at, like, the state fair, and there was a hypnotist there. And he was harmless, but he'd get like 6 people on stage, and a couple of them were my coworkers, and they made them like, I don't know, just do something, like pretend to be monkeys or some weird, stupid thing, you know? Like, I mean, that's the only thing that freaks me out. They say that, but they can make you do stuff. They can. I've seen it, and, you know, my coworker was like, trust me, I didn't, you know... That was real. That was 100% real.
Perhaps Dr. Woodard is saying that because he never tried it as a person, because he's not that type of person. But go ahead, Mel. Sorry.
Well, I have a cousin who, for whatever reason, she did some hypnotherapy, and they actually. So after she was everything was said and done, she had all these memories, quote, put memories in quotations here, that supposedly happened, but then, and she wrote a book about it, and half of the stuff was not true. I mean, because like the rest of us who lived the same, it was. I have mixed feelings about being hypnotized. I don't know necessarily that it's a safe thing, but just because of seeing what happened to my cousin, and then her book that she wrote, and
you're like, what the hell?
Right, because like there was a lot of accusations of sexual abuse, and we were like, seriously? That person would have never done that, but anyway.
It's interesting.
Here for a second, but I'll be right back.
No worries. Yeah, and I had this guest that I was talking about that was earlier in my show years, and she had offered to do a past life regression for me. And I was like, yeah, it's totally awesome. And she's like, we can do it on air. And I'm like, I'd rather not, just in case, I don't know. I'd rather see you in person. And she was a ways away, so I was going to see her on my way out. But of course, I departed late, and I never did see her or catch back up with her. But yeah, I have that fear in my mind. Like, you're going to go in my mind and knock over a table and lamp, or, something weird is going to happen. But I don't know. I think if it was
and it's like
Dr.
knowing
Frederick,
that I'm
I'd
an
be
open-minded
comfortable.
person.
Yeah.
Exactly. If it was the right person, I just feel like I'm a strange person. And like, if I went to a regular hypnotherapist, like an actual possible therapist that does hypnotherapy, my friend recently did that. I don't know if it worked for her or not, but she did that. But like, I feel like some weird stuff might come out that therapist is not ready for, like me talking to spirit guides, dead relatives, talking about my extraterrestrial encounters, maybe even seeing the extraterrestrials in whatever dimension they put you in. I just feel like I'd have to be a person that's super, that I get. I mean, I have good enough intuition where I could probably tell if I could handle that or not, or if they could handle that or not. I'd just be more afraid that something would happen that might traumatize them more than anything. I don't know.
Yeah. But you don't want them to put you away.
Oh, that too. Like,
Well,
like
luckily,
I was
we're
going
in the
into that native
2020s.
stuff.
We got COVID going
Exactly.
on, and, everybody's being freed from prison, and people that should be in prison are out, and people that should be in rehab are out because COVID.
Topsy-turvy.
Wouldn't you think that'd be the safest place? I've heard a lot of nursing homes being harshly infected, but my sister actually works in an assisted living home, and she said so far they have had 0 numbers, which is awesome.
That's good.
That's good, because that's the worst place that it could be at,
Which really troubles me. It's like, how do they get that? It has to be from the workers, but how the hell did they get that? Like, generally they're working all the time, or at home, or at the grocery store. Are you not taking precautions? Who knows? But it's been very crazy. The guest that I'm having on tonight, Mr. Scott Varden and Mooney, it reminded me of you all. A lot of these different things that you're talking about we'll be covering tomorrow night with him. It's really amazing and intriguing, but I forgot where I was going. Holy shnikes, I got derailed. What was it? Holy shit. I'm trying to get it back. Can't do it. I'll pass the torch. But yeah, he's going to be talking about a lot of different things that you had brought up, Mooney. And so I'm excited for you to be in the chat room and ask questions, because he's covering so many different topics, from the Palladians to the mafia to the government to astral travel, all kinds of different things. It's going to be a really interesting show. And he's bringing a couple friends with him.
Well, cool.
But yeah, he was talking about, okay, now I remember. He was talking about different people that are really being affected by this. Native Americans, like here on the Navajo reservation, it's running rampant. It's insane.
Yep.
And like you were saying earlier, Mooney, they're big income is tourism. So naturally, they're being subjected to different cooties or whatnot. But also old folks home, like older people, people with certain health issues. Is this actually a thing that was planned, which I've heard a lot about, to dwindle down the numbers, because we are past the number of the Georgia Guidestones. So I don't know. Population is very immense. Perhaps they're trying to cut it down, and a lot of people are saying this is no worse than the flu, although the numbers have gotten very high comparably. But it's going on a lot longer than the flu would be allowed to for the season that it generally is. There's so many questions out there, so many things going on. Anti-maskers, maskers. I'm a masker. I have kids. I gotta protect them, especially my Nova. She's got a compromised immune system, so I'm doing everything I can, uncomfortably, to make sure that she is safe and sound. I would give her the world. But a lot of people out there don't believe in it because there's so many different conspiracies going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, I don't mind an excuse to wear a mask, honestly. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, the thought, it's kind of hard to breathe with the mask on, and I'm always a little bit skeptical as far as, just the air circulating and everything. But honestly, I mean, not skeptical is not the right word. I will say just like, I'm a freedom loving person, basically. I don't like being forced into doing it. And, there's some things that go against it, but just wear a freaking mask, people. Like, honestly, what's wrong with it? There's so many cool ones, like, I don't mind like wearing a mask. I wish Halloween was every day. Just have fun with it, I guess. Like my plague doctor mask. Like, I can't wait to wear that to Walmart.
Well, because I work for the local school district here, and a lot of people here in town know that I work for the school district. I have been asked to follow all the guidelines, just so, and not that I wouldn't, I would anyway, because then it presents a united front across the board in the community. So.
Aww.
Well, I'm sad for Lily.
And you're a conscientious person.
She is.
I try.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart. That's why she's my secret lover. I'm just kidding.
Don't go tell everybody. Gosh. Now the secret is out. Hello.
Hello, anybody who's listening. But yeah, I feel bad for Lily because this is her first year of school, and I'm just not comfortable with the way things are. So I'm going to take it upon myself to do homeschooling for all three of my chitlins. I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, we're talking about a 5-year-old, a 7, going to be 8-year-old, and a 16-year-old. Holy shnikes. Yeah, good luck. But I'm not comfortable with it. Like, it's hard enough, and I've substituted, it's hard enough getting the kids to do what they're supposed to do in the first place, keep their hands to themselves, so on and so forth. How the hell are you going to make them wear a mask, keep their distance? Like, this goes against everything kids believe in, And I've seen it in my own neighborhood with my kids wanting to play with the neighbor kids. Like, there's just no way that this is going to happen. And
you can't
Nova
control the children, basically. Yeah. You can't control them. They're going to be kids. There's like no way. You can try your best, but you will never be able to control them. If they want to eat dirt, they're going to do it.
Get a taser.
I guess probably not your 16-year-old, but
get a taser. I can see it now. Yeah, I'd rather do homeschool. Mom, this kid was too close and I had to tase him. High five, son, but
danger.
Speaking of kids, not that this is paranormal, but my youngest turned 21 yesterday.
All right. Congratulations.
Did you guys celebrate?
Did you kick him out?
Yes, we celebrated.
Did you celebrate too hard? I'm just kidding.
No, because I had to go to work.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was Thursday, so yeah, anyway. But, even because I do work for the school district, there are so many things that are still unknown that it's really hard to make those decisions on what school is actually going to look like across the board. And I know a lot of parents are frustrated with the school districts across the state here in Colorado. But really, if you look at everything that we've been bombarded with, and trying to make sure not only are the students safe, but the employees or the teachers or just everybody as a whole is safe, it is really hard to make a determination on what school in the fall is going to look like. And like sports, a lot of people are asking about, well, are we going to have sports? And so, that too adds another set of issues to make sure everybody is safe. And so
yeah, here in Bayfield, they're talking about, and they're even putting what they expect of teachers, what teachers can get away with as far as leave and all this other stuff, and sports. They will have sports, but they have to wear their masks. And as far as music class and stuff, it's going to be paper and audio and such, but there's no singing allowed or no instrument playing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not allowed. They're not allowing singing in church in California and some other places. So they're trying to silence the singers. I'm not just saying, but pretty soon that's going to be for everybody. And that's
they will never silence us. I'm just kidding.
That's right. I dare you. Try it.
Let's have a musician riot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, I still laugh about what you said last time. This is the only period I look forward to. Me too. I love hanging out with my friends.
Yes.
Yeah, I really do feel bad for the kids. And my niece, Michaela, she graduated this last year. And like you said, this is not paranormal, but it is. Like, this is different than what's normal. Like, the kids don't get their graduation ceremony. They still bought their caps and gowns because this happened before the whole, right before spring break, COVID breakout. So here in Bayfield, what they did was make little, kind of like they do for realtors or for people that are running for Senate or state or whatnot. They'll make these little signs with their picture and class of 2020 and their name on it, and put it up along the road near the school. And some of the kids went and took their little placard thingies and put them in their yards, which I thought was cool, kind of carrying it on. But they're missing out on so much as far as what we experienced as kids. I missed my graduation too, but this for them is forced. This is not something that they chose.
Right.
Yeah. Like you just got on a big event.
We are.
It'll make them enjoy school, though. They'll always remember it, and they'll be thankful to be in school afterwards, maybe.
Right, and even college, they're saying will never be the same. Like, nothing that we know is normal is ever going to be normal again. So many things are going to just be out the window, and new things, online things, the interweb, so on and so forth, are going to be expanding. But you guys, we are at the end of our time. I want to thank you guys for coming out. It was so awesome to have you.
Well, enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And especially for, well, not especially, but Mooney and Mel, thank you so much for coming out so last minute. I was just grateful that I made it before the last, 30. But thank you guys again so much. And thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Periscope, iHeartRadio, and wherever else beyond the Omniverse you're listening tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening. I can't wait for tomorrow night. We got Mr. Scott Varden on. Oh my goodness. He's got a plethora of different things going on. I'm excited. It's going to be a full night. And he's bringing guests, and we just talked about this today. So, yeah. Make sure you tune in. And don't forget, you guys, we are all in this together, even though we're apart. And together we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we are Paradox Media, because without you, there is no us. We do an after party every night on the weekends, and I think even on the weekdays. You can find it at We Are Paradox Media under Tessa.N.Thomas30, or give us a call, 970-335-9596. Or reach out to the host on Skype and see if you can get in that way. Until next time, you guys, nighty night, love and light. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and take care of my yous. I forget, I want to thank all of our people that have donated. Mia Savage, Mr. Kevin McDougal, we have Holy Schnikes, Del Elson, and Mr. Jim Morris from Scotland. Thank you, thank you, thank you.